Hello, if you're tired of wasting time on boring and repetitive tasks in Excel, this video is for you. Today, I will show you how to automate your workflows using macros. Whether you're dealing with sales data, generating payslips, or tracking tasks, by the end, you will know how to save hours of work with just a click of a button. Ready to become an Excel pro? Let's get started. First up, let's tackle a common task: formatting and summarizing weekly sales data. Imagine you receive this raw data every Monday, and your job is to format it, calculate totals, and make it presentable before sending it to management. I will show you today how to automate the process while using separate sheets for each week. To start, you need to ensure Developer tab is enabled for you. If it's not, right-click on the ribbon, choose Customize ribbon, and make sure Developer is checked. Now that it's enabled, let's record a macro by going to the Developer tab and clicking Record Macro. I will name this one Format Sales Data Week 1 and click OK. Now that Excel is recording, let's format the sales data for week 1. Click on the first header cell and use the Shift plus the right arrow to select all headers. Press Alt-HAC to center align everything. Use Alt-HH to open the Fill Color menu and choose a dark color for the headers. Press Alt-HFC and select white to make the headers stand out. And press Ctrl-B to bold the headers for emphasis. See how quickly we've formatted our header row. Now let's move on to the data. Select the entire data range and use Alt-HH to fill the rows with a light green color for better visibility. I would have borders added to give it a structure and align center. Then I will format the revenue and the profit figures to include the comma style. Next, let's make this report more visual by adding a bar chart. So highlight the revenue and the profit columns, go to the Insert tab, and choose Bar Charts. Then adjust its position. Now that we are done with the formatting and charts, let's stop the macro recording by going back to the Developer tab and clicking Stop Recording. Now, let's fast forward to next week when we receive the new data. We are going to use a separate sheet for week 2 to keep things organized. So right-click on the week 1 sheet, select Move or Copy, and check the box for Create a Copy. I would rename this new sheet to week 2. Clear the week 1 data, including the formats and the charts, and paste the week 2 data in this new sheet. This way, we have a clean sheet for week 2. Now, we can run the same macro to format the week 2 data automatically. Formatting complete for week 1 and chart added. So click OK to see what we have. Exactly as we wanted. This is the week 2 data with the charts, and this is the week 1 data. To make the process even easier, let's add a button for each week sheet. So right here in the Developer tab, click Insert, then Button. Link the button to the Format Sales Data Week 1 macro and click OK. I would have this renamed to Format Week 2 Data and make it bold. Repeat the process for the week 1 data, linking the button to the same macro. So, if I click on this button, the table right here should be reformatted the same way, and I should have a new chart created. Formatting complete and chart added. Just like that. Next, let's move on to a scenario for all HR folks out there. Generating employee payslips. Manually creating individual payslips for each employee every month can be a hassle. but with macros, it's easy. I will show you how to manually test generating payslips for each employee first, and then we will automate the process for all employees. We will start by recording a macro called generate payslip. The first step is to copy the employee details from our payroll sheets to the payslip template. We're going to have to do this manually. So copy the employee name, paste it into the field for employee name here, and repeat this for the rest of the details. We could have transposed this quickly manually to have it pasted vertically here, but to make the macro work, it's essential we have it pasted manually. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly have this formatted to make it neat. So I'm going to work on the headers, give it a dark fill, and make the text white. Make it bold and have it centrally aligned. Have borders placed in. Now let's calculate the net pay automatically. Instead of calculating it manually every time, we will enter a formula into the payslip template while recording the macro. So select the cell where the net pay will be displayed, e.g. B7. Type in the formula to calculate the net pay. That is going to be the basic salary plus the bonuses, those are the incomes, minus the taxes and deductions. Go ahead and format it further. I will have the comma sign inserted for the figures and have the row for the net pay formatted to have it distinguished from the rest of the data. Now that I'm done formatting, I will go ahead and stop recording the macro. So now we've recorded the macro for one employee. Let's manually test it before moving on to automating the entire process for all employees. So I'm going to clear all the formatting done here and clear all the details to start afresh. Select the data for the same employee we used in recording the macro and transpose paste it in the payslip template. You can see that we don't have any calculated figure for the net pay here, and all the formatting has been removed. So if I go to the developer tab to run the macro, you can see that the process works correctly for that one employee. The net pay calculation and formatting are correct. So let's now have the process automated for all employees using the VBA code. So go back to the macros, it's generate payslip, and select edit. This is the code Excel generated with the macro we recorded, but we're going to have this replaced with this new code. Let's quickly break down what this code is doing. The macro first assigns the payroll sheet and the payslip template sheet to variables, allowing the macros to access the necessary data and templates for generating each employee's payslip. The macro then finds the last row of the payroll data by checking the last field cell in column A. This ensures that the macro processes all employees listed in the payroll sheet. The macro uses a for loop to go through each employee's row, starting from row 2, assuming row 1 contains headers. For each employee, it copies the details such as the name, salary, bonuses, taxes, and deductions into the payslip template. The net pay is then calculated automatically by subtracting taxes and deductions from the basic salary and bonuses. So for each employee, the macro generates a PDF file of the completed payslip. The file name is created using the employee's name, e.g. donho_payslip.pdf, and saved to the specified folder. In this case, it's in the C drive inside the folder that will be created, payslips. You can change the folder path in the code to match where you want to save the files. So to summarize, this code ensures that for each employee, a personalized payslip is generated, the net pay is calculated, and the document is saved as a PDF in the folder you've set. So after adding this VBA code, You can test the automation for all employees by running the generate all payslips macro, which is the macro we've just created. But we need to first have our Excel file saved as macro enabled. So click on File, Save As, and make sure your Save As type is Excel macro enabled workbook. Now save it. Create a payslip folder in the C drive, which is the path we have indicated in the code. So I would have a new folder created and name this payslips. This is where all the generated payslips will be saved in the PDF format for each employee. Now let's run the code. Go to Macros, select Generate All Payslips and click Run. Now go to the folder you created and check to see that all the payslips are correctly generated. And there you have it, exactly as we want it to. So if you click to open any of the payslips, you will see that it's been generated and saved in the exact format we recorded with the net pay calculated. Finally, let's look at how to automate task status updates, apply conditional formatting, and send email alerts for overdue tasks. This is perfect if you manage a team and need a clear picture of which tasks are completed, in progress, or overdue. We will also visualize the progress and automate the process so that you can update everything and see the changes with just one click. Here is the data set we'll be working with to automate our task tracking and email alerts. It includes an email column for the assigned employees, and we also have a today's date field for dynamic updates. The today's date field uses the today function to display the current date automatically. And the email column ensures each team member receives the alerts when their tasks are overdue. Now, let's record a macro that will automatically update task statuses based on the due dates. Apply conditional formatting to highlight urgent tasks and send an email alert to team members for overdue tasks. So go to the Developer tab, click on Record Macro, and name it something like Task Status Updates with Alert. Then click OK. We're going to use a formula to update overdue tasks based on the today's date field. To prevent circular references when updating status, we're going to use the helper column. So in the helper column, column E, I'm going to use this formula to update overdue tasks based on today's date field. This formula keeps completed tasks as unchanged and mark tasks as overdue if the due date is past the current date stored in H1. So I will drag this down for the other cells. Next, we will add visual cues by applying conditional formatting to highlight overdue tasks in red and completed tasks in green. So with the helper status column highlighted, use Alt-O-D to open the conditional formatting menu. Click on New Row and add the row to format cells with overdue in red. Then add another row to format cells with completed in green. Here is where automation really shines. Our macro will automatically send email alerts to the assigned employees for overdue tasks, ensuring they are notified immediately. To do this, we're going to use a VBA code. So go to the Developer tab and click on Visual Basic. Have a new module inserted. And here is the VBA code we're going to use. The VBA code does three things. It checks whether tasks are overdue, updates the status, and sends an email alert for overdue tasks. Let's quickly go through how it works. In this code, we are using Microsoft Outlook to send an email whenever a task is marked as overdue. These variables has been declared to connect with Microsoft Outlook to send the email. The subject of the email includes the task name, and the body contains a message asking the team member to take action. Let me show you the key parts of the email message. The subject line of the email will say something like task overdue and then specify the actual name of the task. While the body of the email can be customized, in this case, it's a simple message that includes the task name, the date when the task became overdue, and a polite request to take immediate action. So save that and let's test the macro to see how it works in practice. Change the due date for some task to stimulate overdue task. And then run the macro. The macro will automatically update task statuses, apply conditional formatting, highlighting overdue task in red and completed task in green, and then send email alerts to employees with overdue task. Finally, let's make this process even faster by adding a button that automates the update, progress visualization, and email notifications, all with just one click. So go to the Developer tab, Insert, and then Button. I will draw the button here and assign the button to this macro. Rename the button to something like Update Task Status and send alerts. Now, with just a click of this button, Excel will automatically update the data, adjust the task summary, and send emails out to employees with overdue task. I just received an email notification for overdue task, just as we wanted it to. And there you have it, 3 powerful ways to automate repetitive tasks in Excel. With a bit of setup, your workflow will be fully automated. If you found this tutorial helpful, subscribe to the channel for more time-saving tips like this. Let me know in the comments which task you intend to automate next. Until next time, happy automating!